What exactly was captured on camera as Jungkook performed the shocking stunt backstage? And why did Jimin's reaction spark such a stir? Keep watching and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe so you don't miss the next update. Are you ready to dive into the dramatic events captured on camera recently and become a hot topic of conversation among the ARMY? Imagine one seemingly ordinary night backstage at a concert, suddenly turning into a moment that sparked an uproar among BTS members and fans around the world. In this article, we will reveal one event captured on camera, Jungkook doing something unexpected backstage, and Jimin's shocking reaction that left everyone stunned. What was the motive behind Jungkook's actions? Why was Jimin's reaction so emotional? And how does this event affect the dynamics between the two as well as the atmosphere within the group? Find all the clues, surprises, and emotional details here, no spoilers, just a suspense-filled narrative that keeps peeking into the final seconds. Since the first seconds of the short clip appeared on social media, the virtual world seemed to be shaken. The video, which lasts about 15 seconds, features Jungkook, the magne and main vocalist of BTS, in a completely different moment from his spectacular performance on stage. Behind the sparkling lights and the cries of thousands of fans waiting, the camera was able to record Jungkook's figure, who seemed to approach Jimin with a serious expression, not just a joke or a light joke as usual. So, what really happened? What was the situation before and after the tape? And why was Jimin's reaction so dramatic that the ARMY thundered, questioning the fate of friendship and cooperation between the two? All of these questions are answered in the long narrative you'll read below. No pauses, no bullet points, and full of mysterious clues. Curious clickbait, and emotional surprises that will make your eyes water. We'll walk you through every corner of the backstage hallway, looking from the point of view of the production staff, the concert crew, to the security staff who happened to record that moment on their cell phones. Not only that, we will also present a description of the stressful environment, moving spotlights, heartbeat sounds that seem to be heard every second, and panic whispers among staff members. All the details will be broken down in such a way that you can directly feel the tension that enveloped BTS at that time, even before the viral video spread. A few days before the event was captured on camera, the BTS members were in the final preparations for their big concert at a grand stadium in Seoul. A busy schedule of rehearsals, vocal warm-ups, choreography rehearsals, and language re-recording sessions for international audiences has passed. However, amid the rush, rumors circulated that the relationship between Jungkook and Jimin was a little stretched. Some of the staff claimed to have heard a serious conversation between the two some time ago, but they did not expect that the small disagreement would culminate into something as dramatic as this. On that night, the concert started at exactly 19:00 local time. Spectators filled the stadium, shouting boisterously as the stage lights fell on the LED screens projecting the silhouettes of the BTS members. One by one they appeared, bringing hits that made the atmosphere even more heightened. It was time for Jungkook to take the stage, singing a stunning solo part. In the middle of her performance, the main camera highlighted her feisty face. However, unintentionally, a secondary camera on the side of the stage captured a moment that actually happened behind the stage, when Jungkook left the stage for a few seconds. And that's when the story began. It all started when Jungkook finished his solo part and immediately moved to the edge of the stage. Instead of returning to his position, he chose to head for the narrow hallway that connects the main backstage with the staff area. In the footage, Jungkook is seen holding his breath, as if preparing to do something stressful. Jimin, who was waiting near the dressing area, turned his head when he saw Jungkook coming, but his expression was still calm, as if convinced that the magne only wanted to ask one ordinary question. However, what happened next was truly unexpected. Jungkook grabbed a small object out of his pocket, something that looked like an old phone with a slightly chipped casing. Jimin immediately squinted, probably because the object looked different from the normal mobile phone Jungkook was used to. With a trembling voice, Jungkook uttered one sentence that invited Tanya. "Jimin, you see this?" Jimin reached out his hand to pick up the object, then his eyes widened when he realized what was on the phone screen. Something captured on the phone was apparently a short video of the concert staff's internal recording, showing moments of BTS private rehearsals the day before, including a scene of Jungkook seemingly falling silent in a corner of the rehearsal room, holding back tears. The video also shows that one of the dance mentors, who was not part of the official management, appears to snap at Jungkook loudly, asking him to follow a choreography that the mentor said was not up to standard. Pieces of the scene were then accompanied by banging sounds and background music that was deliberately played in the rehearsal studio. At the end of the video, Jungkook closes his face and appears to be holding back tears. Looking at the tape, Jimin instantly fell silent. His facial expression drastically changed from calm to stunned. There was a sense of guilt that was clearly written in his eyes, as if he realized that Jungkook had been bearing the burden of mental stress that he had never imagined so deep. However, instead of kissing him gently as usual to calm him down, Jimin looked at Jungkook with a mixture of anger and sadness. Without saying a word, Jimin threw his gaze at Jungkook, a look that seemed to demand an explanation. "Why didn't you ever tell me this?" It is at this point that the tension really peaks. Jungkook just lowered his head, his lips trembling as if he wanted to explain, but the words were hard to come out. Behind them, some of the production crew who were unaware the camera footage was still on looked panicked as the aura of energy in the backstage hallway changed suddenly. The spotlights that were originally only for the stage lit up at a glance, illuminating the room, reflecting the shadows of the staff running around, preparing the next equipment. But everyone's focus is now on two figures of BTS members standing in a dark hallway: Jungkook, whose eyes are puffy, and Jimin, whose face is colored with sadness as well as anger. The next camera footage shows the moment where Jimin finally breaks the silence with a trembling voice. "Why are you keeping this to yourself, Jungkook? I see you trying hard every day, but I never know how badly you're suffering." The words were spoken so softly, almost audible only to Jungkook, yet in the silence of the hallway, every syllable felt so heavy. All of this happens in just seconds, but has a huge impact. Imagine Jimin, the lead vocalist who is usually full of smiles and a friendly aura, suddenly showing another face, the face of a friend who is disappointed because he feels lied to and too late to reach out just when Jungkook needs it most. Fans who watched the short video on social media immediately speculated, has Jimin been so focused on preparing for the show that he doesn't realize Jungkook's mental burden? Or could it be that there is a deeper internal conflict over pressure from the agency, the roles of each member, and the hope of performing at their best on the big stage? The day after the video went viral, the atmosphere among the ARMY was heating up. Various online discussion forums are filled with theories and rumors. Some argue that the internal rehearsal footage should not have leaked, and Jungkook's actions show courage or desperation to reveal the truth. Some fans are worried whether this incident will affect their performance on stage later, as the relationship between the members seems to be strained. In fact, there is also a theory that BTS management, HYBE, is secretive about the mental condition of its members and deliberately keeps the ARMY from knowing too much about how hard the pressure must be faced by Jungkook. On the other hand, several dance coaches and production crews who were involved dismissed the news that they deliberately treated Jungkook harshly. According to them, the snap moment in practice is just one of the ways to encourage each member to achieve strict choreographic standards. They affirm that the atmosphere of training is always built to be competitive in order to maintain the quality of performance. However, for Jungkook, the pressure seems to be too much, especially when he also has to struggle with personal problems that he finds it difficult to tell anyone about. The day after the video went viral, the atmosphere among the ARMY was heating up. Various online discussion forums are filled with theories and rumors. Some have argued that internal rehearsal footage should not have leaked, and Jungkook's actions show courage or desperation to reveal the truth. Some fans are worried about whether this incident will affect their performance on the next stage, as the relationship between the members looks tense. In fact, there is also a theory that BTS management, HYBE, is secretive about the mental condition of its members and deliberately keeps the ARMY from knowing too much about how hard the pressure must be faced by Jungkook. On the other hand, several dance coaches and production crews who were involved dismissed the news that they deliberately treated Jungkook harshly. According to them, the snap moment in practice is just one of the ways to encourage each member to achieve strict choreographic standards. They affirm that the atmosphere of training is always built to be competitive in order to maintain the quality of performance. However, for Jungkook, the pressure seems to be too much, especially when he also has to struggle with personal problems that he finds it difficult to tell anyone about. In an exclusive interview that appeared 2 days later, although only with a few small media outlets that got access, Jimin shared a bit of his feelings. "When we were on stage, I always saw Jungkook as a cheerful figure who never seemed to get tired despite our crazy schedule. But when I saw the video, my heart was broken. I regret that I never asked Jungkook to speak more deeply. I just focused on my voice, our performance, and all the technical stuff that had to be perfect. I just realized that behind that smile, there was a sadness that was too deep to express. However, he then added in a firm tone, "This is not the time to look for who is right or wrong. It's about how we support each other as brothers. I will always be there for Jungkook." However, Jimin's brief statement did not immediately dampen the wave of emotions among the army. Many fans still feel curious and disappointed to feel betrayed. How could the two best friends not open up to each other about their respective burdens? Some are worried that this event could be the starting point for a rift in their relationship, thus affecting BTS's overall chemistry. On the other hand, there were also voices of support. Maybe Jungkook needs space to process his own feelings before sharing them with Jimin. We must not blaspheme him for saving his own wounds. In the midst of the controversy, HYB released an official statement stating that they are conducting an internal evaluation regarding the mental condition of the BTS members. They added that the artist's mental health is a priority, and there will be additional counseling sessions for Jungkook and other members. This statement was met with a variety of reactions. Some called it too late. Others appreciated the move as a form of management responsibility. Meanwhile, additional video footage was revealed to the public a few hours later. This time, a different backstage camera featured a longer moment. After Jimin threw his harsh words, Jungkook was seen embracing Jimin very tightly, shedding tears on Taehyung's shoulders. The scene was accompanied by Jimin's soft whisper that seemed to be trying to calm his own wounded heart. Though only seconds long, the moment illustrates the complexity of their relationship between disappointment, guilt, and unspoken affection. In addition, another cut shows BTS leader and taehyung arriving at the location, as if they just realized there was a tense atmosphere in the backstage hallway. They seemed to make room for Jungkook and Jimin to solve their problems. However, there were also those who caught an anxious look in RM's eyes, as if thinking about how this incident could have an impact on the entire group. The video spread, and the hashtag Jungkook Jimin backstage to hashtag BTS mental health was trending on various platforms. With videos and statements circulating, the public was left to wonder, is this tension just a small problem that they can solve as brothers? Or is there something bigger hidden behind the scenes? Some observers of the entertainment industry consider that the pressure to always look perfect, especially in a group as popular as BTS, really drains the energy of idols. The task of satisfying millions of fans, meeting the expectations of management, as well as maintaining a positive image before the public, often makes it difficult for artists to ask for help or express their vulnerability. For Jungkook, perhaps admitting weakness means showing his human side, which can be risky for his image as an idol. In fact, we are all ordinary people who have limits, explained a celebrity psychiatrist who declined to be named. In a radio interview held a few days after the video appeared, BTS members responded to questions about Jungkook's condition with hoarseness and slightly puffy eyes. Suga states that each member monitors each other, but sometimes ego and busyness make them inattentive to the state of the closest person. V added, "I think we all need this moment to understand that behind that glittering stage, there are people who need support." While J-Hope, with a slight smile, expressed his intention to arrange a special session so that Jungkook could gather with the artist's psychologist who had been provided by the management. But in any case, a new concern arises. Will this momentum affect their next appearance? The upcoming concert schedule is expected to undergo minor changes. Additional rehearsal sessions are planned to ensure the crowd does not see empty space on stage, as Jungkook or Jimin may unilaterally reduce their rehearsal schedules. In fact, there were rumors that some of the choreography had to be adjusted just in case any of the members needed a mental break. Among the production staff, this issue is the subject of serious discussion. Should the artist's mental safety be prioritized over running a tight schedule? Or is the market pressure so great that there is no room to postpone the show? To calm fans' concerns, HYB released a short 30-minute documentary on their official channel, featuring snippets of training videos behind the scenes. To footage of Jungkook and Jimin laughing happily during a meet-and-greet session a few months earlier. The documentary seeks to affirm that the relationship between the members is still strong, and that they are working together. However, the majority of the army felt that the documentary was over-curated, giving the impression that the management just wanted to cover up the core issues. Jungkook's mental burden and lack of attention from his group mates. On the other hand, K-pop celebrities and influencers also commented. Several senior idols posted on social media, subtly supporting Jungkook and Jimin. One former member of a famous boy band wrote, "Sometimes behind the glitter of the stage, there is a silent struggle that few people know about. It's good to see you guys open up. Take care of your mental health, JK and JM." Remarks like this make the situation even more heated because they show empathy.